Hello students, today we are meeting for one new article, charged particle in crossed uniform and constant electric field E bar and magnetic field B bar. As we have already completed the two articles in reference with this, one was motion of charged particle in uniform constant electric field and the second one was motion of charged particle in constant magnetic field. Now here is the situation is different. What is the situation? The same charged particle is performing the motion in presence of both, that is electric field E, magnetic field B. And how the situation of both these fields? These two are mutually perpendicular to one another. Electric field E bar is applied along y direction and magnetic field B bar is applied along negative z direction. It is clearly shown in this present diagram. And the resultant trajectory followed by this particle in the situation is cycloid trajectory. Now we have to prove this cycloid trajectory in this article. How? We will see one by one. Let a particle with specific charge q by m enters the crossed magnetic fields at O, origin O having coordinate 0, 0 with initial velocity v0 along x direction. In the previous article, I have explained you what is specific charge. That specific charge is the ratio of charge to its mass of the particle. Electric field E bar along y-axis and magnetic field B bar along the z-axis here. The particle is acted upon by electromagnetic force is called as Lorentz force. In the first article, it was the electrostatic force. In the second article, it was the magnetostatic force. When both the fields are combined to one another, the resultant force acting on the charged particle is a Lorentz force. And this Lorentz force expressed here with our equation number 1 as F bar is equal to Q times E bar plus V bar cross B bar. I think it is clear to you. Now we have to see one by one the components of respective fields. E bar equal to J cap E, B bar equal to minus K cap B and V bar equal to I cap Vx plus J cap Vy, equation number 2. In this equation number 2, we are expressing these three components. Here clearly visualized to you. E bar equal to J cap E, B bar equal to minus K cap B and V cap equal to I cap Vx plus J cap Vy expressed by equation number 2. Equation number 1, Lorentz force Fm bar equal to Q times E bar plus V bar cross B bar. And equation number 2 is showing here the individual components of E bar, V bar and B bar. Since this charged particle moves in xy plane, we have to write the equation for it. Equation of motion can be written as follows. It is explained in the following way. F bar is equal to m times dv bar by dt. It is also equal to mv dot as usual by taking the reference of equation of motion as F bar equal to ma bar. It is also equal to mv dot equal to m times dv by dt. Therefore, this F bar equal to m times bracket I cap Vx plus J cap Vy dot plus K cap Vz dot. Since it is referring with F bar equal to mv dot, it is equal to m times I cap Vx dot plus J cap Vy dot plus K cap Vy dot. It is equal to, by putting the values from equation number 2, how it will take the form? M dv by dt equal to mv dot equal to q times j cap e minus I times vyb plus j cap vxb as our equation number 3. Now let us move further. Considering the components separately from equation 3, how we can write the separate components? dvx by dt equal to vx dot equal to minus qb by m vy equal to minus omega vy. It is our equation number 4. And vy dot equal to qb by m vx plus e upon b equal to omega times vx plus e by b. It is equation number 5. When considering the components separately, one can have these two equations as equation number 4 and 5. Common in these two equations is that omega, which is cyclotron frequency, and it is given by qb upon m. Q is the charge, b is the magnetic field, and m is the mass of that charged particle. Hence, we move further with the reference of equations 4 and 5 with omega equal to qb by m, that is cyclotron frequency. Multiply equation 5 by imaginary unit I, add to equation number 6, we get the resultant equation as follows: vx dot plus I vy dot is equal to I omega times vx plus I vy plus I omega e upon b. It is the resultant equation. Vx dot plus I cap vy dot equal to I cap omega vx plus I vy plus I omega e by b. It is the equation. Since v equal to vx plus I vy and dv by dt equal to I omega v plus I omega e upon b, by combining these two, from where dv by dt equal to I omega v plus I omega e upon b, it is equal to, expressed in equation 6 as dv by dt minus I omega v is simply equal to I omega e upon b, equation 6. Since this equation 6 is a differential equation in first order, we have to solve it. The first order differential equation in its solution consists of two parts, as first part as a complementary function CF and the second part as particular integral Pi. Therefore, the solution of equation 6 equal to CF plus Pi, complementary function plus particular integral. As you know well, being a student of mathematics, the solution of this first order differential equation is the complementary function first. When it is having the complementary function as a solution of a first part, when one can consider the RHS of equation number 6 is equated to 0, at that time one can able to have the complementary function, and it is in the equation is equal to C e raised to I omega t, C e raised to I omega t, when RHS is equated to 0 in equation number 6 as a complementary function. Therefore, according to the rule, the complementary function of equation 6 when its RHS is equated to 0 is equal to C e raised to I omega t. And the second part of a solution of equation 6 is a particular integral. When it is able to have the particular integral as a solution, when the RHS of equation number 6 is taken as it is, and that is equal to I omega e upon b. When this equation 6 is taken as it is, its particular equation will be I omega e upon b e raised to I omega into e raised to minus I omega t upon minus I omega, and it is simply equal to minus e upon b. That is, as a second part of a solution of equation first order differential equation 6 as a particular integral, it is simply equal to minus a upon b equation number 7. Means in its particular integral, it is the only negative ratio of both fields applied to that particle when it enters into that situation, as our equation number 7. Therefore, the general solution of this equation for velocity v equal to Cf plus Pi. Cf is C I raised to omega t, Ce raised to I omega t, and Pi equal to minus E upon b. Therefore, v equal to C e raised to I omega t minus E upon b. Now we move towards the initial conditions for the particle entering into this situation, E perpendicular to b. At time t equal to 0, velocity v equal to 0, at that time c equal to E upon b. E upon b. Now, this velocity v equal to E upon b into e raised to I omega t minus E upon b. Again here we have to comparing the individual components. Vx plus Ivy equal to E upon b cos omega t plus I omega I E upon b sin omega t minus E upon b. Here comparing real and imaginary parts, we have the values as it is. Vx equal to E upon b cos omega t minus E upon b. Second one, Vy equal to E upon b sin omega t. Okay, it is equation number 8. What is included in equation number 8? First part, x component of the velocity vector Vx equal to E upon b cos omega t minus E upon b, and the y component of the velocity vector as Vy equal to E upon b sin omega t, as our equation number 8. Now we have to take into consideration the average velocity of the particle in x direction. In symbolic form, it is written as this average velocity equal to minus E upon b, equation number 9. It is shown here. And it is called electromagnetic drift velocity. It is mutually perpendicular to E bar and B bar. Now in this article, we learn one new concept as electromagnetic drift velocity. It is given by minus E upon b as equation number 9. That electromagnetic drift velocity is mutually perpendicular to E bar and B bar. Now the average velocity in y direction is average of Vy equal to 0. Average Vx equal to minus E upon b, electromagnetic drift velocity, whereas average velocity along y direction equal to 0. It is equation number 10. There is no average velocity overall the motion along electric field, but its motion perpendicular to electric field as drift velocity. Once we have equation number 8, we have to integrate this equation 8 within limits for time t equal to 0 to t. Then x equal to E upon b omega sin omega t minus E t upon b, y equal to E upon b omega minus E cos omega t upon b omega, equation number 11. But this E upon b omega is replaced by the constant r. Hence, we have to write the equation x plus r omega t is equal to r sin omega t and y minus r equal to minus r cos omega t. Hence, we have to write the equation x plus r omega t bracket square plus y minus r bracket square equal to r square, equation number 13. This equation 13 represents the circle with the center as minus r omega t r. That is, the center moves along negative x-axis with a constant speed shown by this equation number 14. Vx equal to r omega equal to E upon B. Hence, the trajectory followed by the particle of a point on the rim of a wheel rolling along the negative x-axis. As shown in the figure above, such a trajectory is called as cycloid. Such a trajectory followed by the charged particle in uniform constant electric and uniform constant magnetic field is cycloid, and therefore the resultant trajectory is cycloid. Here ends the article. As motion of charged particle in the fields, E bar is perpendicular to B bar, that is electric field is perpendicular to B bar, and the resultant trajectory followed by the particle is a cycloid, that is cycloid path followed by that charged particle. Here ends the article. As a motion of charged particle in uniform constant electric and magnetic field. Okay, thanks.